Alright, so this is Naota. The show starts off with him walking on a bridge with his older brother's ex-girlfriend Mamimi. She's kind of crazy. When he's suddenly hit by a girl on a Vespa scooter. Oh yeah, this is Haruko. She's actually an alien and is even more crazy. Actually, almost everyone in the show is pretty crazy. After getting hit, Haruko revives Naota, but then hits him with her bass guitar, which creates what's known as an NO portal, something that creates a way for objects and other beings to be pulled from. So Naota wakes up the next day and sees a horn on his head from the hit he took, and decides to hide it with a bandage. He has a quick run-in with Haruko again at the hospital, but gets out of there quickly because, yeah, she's crazy. Later, back at home, it's dinner time, and guess who's now at his house? Haruko. Turns out Naota's dad, Kaman, hired her to be their housekeeper and will be sharing Naota's bedroom with him. Naota hears that Mamimi stopped by and runs off to meet her at a bridge. Same bridge from earlier? I don't know, maybe. While talking with her, Naota freaks out a little as a robot and a detached robot suddenly emerges from the horn, you know, the NO portal, on his head. They duke it out, the robot wins, then Haruko shows up and hits the robot with her bass guitar. Now getting into episode 2, Mamimi is way too into this game called Firestarter. I mean, it's a game about arson, and Mamimi is again crazy. Oh yeah, remember that robot that came out of Naota's head? It's living with them now too, doing pretty much all of the chores that Haruko was hired to do. Speaking of the robot, he's also given the name Kanti by Mamimi when she comes into contact with it, thinking that he's the Lord of the Black Flame from her video game. Later, Haruko tries to break into this giant iron-shaped building known as the Medical Mechanica Plant. Ultimately though, she fails. At some point, word gets out that there are fires starting around town. Naota and classmates checks him out when he hears that Mamimi has been getting bullied at school. Naota puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that Mamimi is the one starting the fires. He finds her down by the river performing some crazy girl fire ritual and discovers that the old elementary school that burned down years ago was also burned down by her because she hated the place and was saved by his brother. Suddenly, a robot emerges from Naota's head. Kanti comes in to save the day, merges with Naota, becomes this awesome red cannon thing, and destroys the robot. Jumping into episode 3, this is Ninamori. She's the daughter of the mayor. Though she's focused on the school's play of Puss in Boots, she's also caught up in a scandal for parents splitting up. Who's playing Puss, you ask? Naota himself, who instead of a bump on his head, woke up with cat ears. Anyways, Ninamori runs off to a train station to get away from the media, where Naota meets up with her. While driving on her scooter, Haruko avoids a cat, shooting her scooter off to hit Naota once again, thus shooting him towards Ninamori. That night, Kaman insists Ninamori stays the night with them to help her avoid her parents' scandal for a while. While in Naota's room, she reveals that she rigged the class's casting votes for the play to where her and Naoto got the parts that she wanted. The next day, Naota and Ninamori argue in class. She reveals his cat ears, he reveals her voting rigging, and somehow the cat ears go from Naota's head onto Ninamori's. Right after, we got ourselves another monster from the NO portal. With help of some spicy curry, Kanti and Haruko defeat the monster. Episode 4. Haruko is an amazing baseball player. She pretty much single-handedly beats the opposing team. Back at home, Naota witnesses Haruko and Kaman acting in some, strange behaviors, which makes Naota one Jelly Kelly. Now this is Commander Amuro. He works for the Department of Interstellar Immigration alongside this lady, Lieutenant Kitsuru. Let's just call her Kitsuru. Naota meets him where he warns him about Haruko. Later, Kitsuru discovers that a satellite that was hit by one of Haruko's baseballs from earlier is falling straight for the town. Why there? Well, turns out Naota's NO portal has a homie beacon that begins to shine after Naota gets angry at his dad, and the satellite is now homing in on it. Oh yeah, at one point, Naota discovers that Kaman has been replaced by a robot, finds his real body in the closet, then revives him with hot water. But anyways, the satellite. Haruko takes Naota to the top of Medical Mechanica, pulls a flying V out of his forehead, and tells him to swing at the destruction coming their way. The satellite turns into a glove, then throws a baseball-shaped bomb straight towards Naota. Naota swings, stops the bomb in its tracks, then Haruko jumps back in to deliver the swing that sends it back into space. Jumping into episode 5, Naoto and Haruko team up in an airsoft battle against Kaman and Kanti for the affection of Haruko. Nearby, Kitsuru has targeted Kanti via sniper but ultimately fails on the takedown. Back to some Jelly Kellys, Mamimi is observing Naota's relationship with Haruko. The confrontation leads to the biggest NO portal breakthrough with a gun-wielding Leviathan robot now rampaging through the town. With Mamimi in trouble, Naota bravely fuses with Kanti and teams up with Haruko to take down the bot. All seems lost when suddenly Kanti manifests the power of Atomisk and draws out his Gibson EV-0 1961 bass guitar. Oh yeah, Atomisk? He's known as the Pyre King, and is actually why Haruko is on Earth. She's using the NO portal to try and draw him out so she can take his power. Anyways, now super OP'd, Kanzi defeats the robot, revealing that it was actually a giant hand that is now standing as a defeated, petrified monument. Episode 6, the last episode. Haruko and Kanzi are officially wanted criminals on the run. Medical Mechanica has not stopped pumping out steam since the last battle, and Mimimi has befriended a little robot dog that when she allows to eat her cell phone, it grows in size. Eventually, Haruko returns to Naoto's home, putting Naoto in tears, wondering why she left. Elsewhere, Amuro and Kitaro are trying to find the terminal core of a robot that they found in the river, which actually turns out to be Mimimi's new dog. Spoiler? Whatever, it goes into the rest of this. Later, everyone runs into each other. The dog friend, now even larger, absorbs Kanzi, and then Haruko feeds Naoto to it, which then after begins to drill into the giant petrified hand from the last episode, all in the hopes that Haruko can extract the powers of Adamus from it. But before the giant hand can grab a hold of the Medical Mechanica building, Kanzi stops as Naoto emerges from his head, glowing with the power of Adamus. Haruko notices this, gets pissed, then goes right after Naoto. Right before the finishing blow though, Naoto stops himself, kissing Haruko, and allows Adamus to emerge from the NO portal. But just as fast as he arrived, Adamus absorbs the terminal core and blasts off into space. With Adamus back on the run, Haruko readies to part off. She does offer Naoto to join, but quickly takes back her offer, saying that he's just a kid. So it's off into space she goes, leaving her old base behind in favor of Naoto's 2 new guitars. A year goes by. Naoto and classmates are in junior high now, and everything's back to normal.